final Mad Dog prototype. What we hope to be the final dropout. Tire clearance is going to be a little wider.
What do you got there? What are you holding?
Well, James Murphy, what I've got here is what I hope will be the final Mad Dog prototype front triangle. Fixture drawing right here. '87 engraved on the bottom bracket shell. Big shield, 5-inch head tube. Pretty straightforward. Got the dog tag fused onto the seat tube here. This thing hasn't been welded yet. I was just going over some dimensions. Here's a little trick to see, to make sure your bottom bracket is centered if you're concerned about that. It's kind of hard to do after the weld is in here because your caliper won't sit flush, but that's just a little trick for doing that. But yeah, front triangle's looking good.
What's going on with that thing? I can't hear you.
James Murphy. In that tumbler are the final, what we hope to be the final dropout for this final prototype. And this is what we ended up on. I think we've been through we've only made 2 prototype frames, but we've done probably 8 different left side drops to get to this one. And what we've got here is a dropout that works really, really well with a profile disc hub with a 120 disc and a standard Shimano hydraulic caliper single piston. That's what this frame is designed for. But if you want to run the 140, like I said, you can use the 20 mil spacer and you can use the same caliper. But in a perfect world, on my personal bike, I've got profile the 120 with 0 millimeter spacer and the single piston Shimano caliper. But we'll check out the whole setup in a second here. So we got the very first prototype ever here. This is the one we made back in 2020, which rode really well, but didn't have any adjustment here. Had the whole Steel Panther rear end with the drop chainstay for the chainstay mounted brakes. I just felt like chainstay mounted brakes, removable cable guides, I mean, it's just like a Swiss Army knife, you know? It was like a multi-tool. Look at all this stuff going on here. And all I really wanted was a clean frame with a disc brake. So we built this one. My favorite ever S&M frame, the Challenger, super clean. We didn't have the removable brakes. We don't have the removable cable guides. You know, it's like the stiletto bike, not the Swiss Army knife. So I think it's just clean, simple. I like it a lot better. But the biggest challenge has been, these are the dropouts here. The biggest challenge has been trying to get the whole brake dialed in with the 120. So this is the final drop right here. It's going on the sample this week. So you can see there's a little bit of adjustment. So I run my wheel here, but you can get most of the middle part of this dropout with some really good pad disc contact with this part here. Plus we thickened it up here. A lot of people keep talking about, oh, you're going to crush the seat stays. You need to put a brace in here. Well, the brace in there is gross, number one. I mean, I don't like the way it looks. And 2, I don't think it's necessary. So we thickened this thing up here. I mean, it's going to take a crap ton of force to try and flex this, you know, 3/16 heat treated. So after this thing gets tumbled, it's going to go to the heat treater. This thing's going to be heat treated. I don't think you're breaking this with a relatively smooth BMX tire with a small disc single piston. I mean, if you grab a whole bunch of brake, you're just gonna skid. You're riding on hard packed surfaces. You're not on a mountain bike with, you know, 20 pounds of pressure in your tire and a big aggressive knobby, you know, skidding over rocks and logs and all kinds of crap that's gonna grab your, you know, your underinflated tire with a big knobby and put a bunch of pressure into a, you know, 200 millimeter or 160 millimeter disc and then break your frame. I don't think that's what we're talking about here. So I haven't had any problems with this. I haven't seen any flex in this. I think this looks a million times better, and I don't think the brace is necessary. And that's what the dropout looks like. And that's what the second prototype looks like right there, which you might have seen out at down in Florida a couple weeks ago, or even this weekend out at the new Corona Park. But oh, and then we're moving these. These are underneath, going to be underneath here on the next sample too. So I put a 3D rendering on my Instagram, which we can put on here as well. But these guides are going to be straight down under the tube in case your left side, in case you run your brake on the left side. And then these are going to be underneath, which will give you a way cleaner shot at the caliper. And then that's what a 0 millimeter adapter bracket looks like, which is the IS mount to post mount, which is what that's called, because this is called an IS mount and then this is post mount. So it's IS to post adapter. This is a 0 millimeter, no rise. So if you go to the 140, you just pop this guy up with a 20 mil spacer. So pieces for the rear end on this next prototype. The tire clearance is going to be a little wider on this next frame because this is just a little bit too tight for me. And also the tire clearance on the chain stays are going to be a little bit wider as well. So this is a S&M mainline 2.1 tire. They're actually sold out, and the new ones are coming in marked 2.2 because this is actually a 2.2, but it was made with 2.1 on the side back in the day. But we've changed that now. So now it's going to be a mainline 2.2, but it's the same as the old 2.1. This one was just labeled wrong, so they're actually 2.2s. And now they'll say 2.2. And that's the tire I like to run on the back. I wanted a little bit more clearance. And I've got a 28 on here, and you can see it's just, I've got tons of clearance. You can, even with the wider chain stays on this next go round, you're gonna be able to run a 39 pretty comfortably, which is a great gear for going to the track, 39-14. It's just a tiny, tiny bit taller than a 44-16, and I have had 1 or 2 people ask me for the 44 clearance on here, which for me, if we wanted to get 44 clearance on here, we would have to run a tiny little race tire, a 195 maybe would be the biggest tire you could run. So I'm not willing to give up running the tire that I want to run just so, you know, a handful of people can put a 44 on there. Just put a 39-14. It's a good gear. You know, it's big, it looks good, gives you the same ratio. I personally like a 28-10. I don't know how that computes as far as like how hard it is, but I think the 28-10 looks good, and it's the best feeling gear that I've ridden. A couple other things I like about this frame from the first go around too. The taller head tube, so I don't have to run spacers, so that's really clean. That's just a fit top cap with one tiny little washer and the credence stem. And I'm running a quick release clamp on here. Whether or not you want to run a quick release clamp, that's kind of up to you, but I am going to leave the seat tube free of the fused on clamp, so you are going to have to get a seat clamp of some sort. And this post is 25.4. I like the Stealth Pivotal 25.4. That's why people asked on the first Mad Dog why we put the 27.2 seat post on the first one. That's because the Stealth Pivotal that we had at that time, we only had it in 27.2. But now we have it in 25.4. So you can use the same seat post that, you know, you're using on probably the bike you're riding now, whether it's an ATF or a BTM or, I mean, whatever you're riding. So we don't really need that big giant seat tube on here. So your clamp is going to be a standard 28.6 clamp. And we're gonna start tacking this thing up here in a little bit. So I spend a lot of time in Taiwan doing quality control, and it's been a while. It's definitely been a while. We're back in the States here, and
What do you got, man? We got Damian in the house.
Oh yeah.
For a couple months. Building up a new mixtape. Woo!
Good stickers.
Who designed those stickers?
Who knows? They're the best.
Crazy. That guy's
Right.
good, huh?
I don't like this one too much. But it's okay. When I designed it, I didn't like it too much. And then I like the thing that I didn't like it too much because you could peel it off and just left these ones on. These ones are sick. This one's my favorite. Right? This looks like old school and clean.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's the best.
Nice frame. It looks good in black.
Fresh goods.
That's nice. Oh man, the best.
Got those Fit trail pedals?
Yeah.
Trail pedals in the streets,
These
huh?
are the street new pedals, man.
Not just for trails.
Icon red and blue. That's so funny, man.
You gotta know.
Choose, man.
You gotta know which one's which. What do you got on your hat there?
What is it? Pins on the side.
So pins on one side, no pins on the other?
Yeah. I don't usually use all the pins in the side because I only use 4 or 3 maybe. I'll have to check the old ones. But you could have black pedals, dude. Huh? Haven't had
That
a
looks
black.
good.
A black. Oh. I never do that.
Hot off the press, we got the LAMF shirt. It's on a Gildan heavyweight tee, nice and thick. We got that logo on the back, the shield on the front, and all black, of course. They'll be in stock this week. Medium, XXL, good to go.
Got the field trip crew in the house today. We got a new shirt. Chloe's wearing the new Rambler shirt on a next level blank. We got the back there in Trails We Trust. They're the trail dudes. Whoa, Dougie fresh out of nowhere.
So we got the back triangle in the fixture. Sub-assemblies are tacked up. Now we're gonna tack the whole top seat stay and chainstay subassembly to the front triangle. That's what's going on here. So everything's squared up. We've got the latest dropout here. Let's tack it.
Yes. Light it up.
Key. Clear vision, calculations, symmetry, science. Yeah.
This is the science table.
All right. So next on the science table, we're going to check angles, making sure head tube angle's correct, bottom bracket height, seat tube. You got your 12.42 axle to crown port, 5-inch head tube. So it's kind of like a dummy setup. Make sure everything's correct. So we got 74.25 head tube. BB is 1.61 or 11.61. So that is dead on. So we're good there. Rear end length 13.9, we're good there. Stand over. Got a big one here, 10 inches. That's right on. Like we're ready to roll. Finish weld it, throw it on the table and slot it and test it.
Hey Chris, what's up?
Oh, hey, what's up, Arnold? I mean, Murph. Well, I got something exciting. I got something exciting here. I put my YouTube voice on. Well, we're gonna unbox this later. Really cool. Go down there. Okay, what do we got? What do we got? We've got tooling. Tooling to make what, you ask, Murph?
Tooling to make what?
Tooling to make a lot of tooling this week. This is like my third tooling episode of the week. But this one is going to be especially cool. Oh, it's like a bomb. I feel like I just pulled a bomb out of here. Oh, it came from Cult. Oh my God. Oh my God.
What's in the box?
What's in the box, man? What's in the box? What's in the box from Cult? It's a bomb. We're done. This is it. This is the end of Factory Friday. This is the end of all of
This
it.
is it.
No, the box did not come from Cult. They wouldn't do that. Those dudes are cool. You know they love me. They love us all over here. What is this? I can't open this one. Someone's gonna have to come in here and figure out how to open this one.
Might be threaded.
Anyway, we're gonna open that one in a second, but I'm gonna give you a guess. Like, I'm gonna have you guess. What do you think this is, James Murphy? What does it look like? I mean, we know what it looks like.
Looks like a bomb.
But it's not a bomb.
It's not a bomb.
It's calibrated.
Okay. I think that's gonna stamp something.
Oh.
Might stamp a logo.
Wow. Bam.
That one.
Yep. Look at it.
It's backwards.
Oh, it is. But when it's in metal, it's gonna be.
It won't be backwards.
It'll be correct. So that is your Rambler shield right there. And what's it going to go on, you ask, James Murphy?
What's that going on?
It's going to go on a little square plate that's going to go on some handlebars. Some Rambler handlebars. New sizes, new sweeps, new handlebars. And that's going to go on a square plate that's going to go on the handlebars. It's going to be fused on the handlebars, which will be really cool. But it can also go on, a frame gusset. It could go on a, frame gusset. It could go on anything you want it to, really. Keychain. Yeah, that took about 10 minutes right here. 10 minutes later. 10 minutes later, we got the other half of this ticking time bomb. Oh, look at that. So guess what we do here, James Murphy?
What do we do here?
We put this in a machine, punch press.
Okay.
Okay, turret press, I believe. High speed punch press. We put this guy in the top. We line these two up. See all these keyways? You line these guys up in the punch press, and then bam, 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 bam. What are you left with? Little Rambler tags. Sweet Rambler tags. What's the cost of all this, you ask? You ask?
I ask, what is the cost of all this?
A lot. A whole lot.
Figured
actually.
It was a lot.
Yeah, it is a lot. But it's made in America, and it's super badass.
Yeah.
And it's not a bomb.
And it's ours.
Yeah. I mean, we can use this forever.
Perfect.
Yeah. All right. So, on the topic of stamping, this thing is super badass, obviously. That's the way we do it nowadays. But we were just talking about it, and I thought it was funny because I have these old tools from the 80s that made the dropouts for this bike. I got the fork tool over here, and I got the frame tool here. I actually got these from the metal stamper. They actually made the parts for the Robinsons in the 80s, and this is how much things have changed. This is the stamping tooling for a Robinson rear dropout right here. So this is the part that would go in the machine. You would feed the material in here, so it'd be a sheet of, you know, sheet metal dropout material. So whatever this is, 1/8 of an inch thick, and feed that in there. And then this guy was mounted to the top part of the punch press, and this is what was making these drops, and now this is what it's evolved into to make just a little logo in the gusset. And obviously the dropouts are laser cut at this time, so this isn't really happening anymore. But that's how much things have changed. Stamping tooling from the 80s to 2024. When it's all said and done, that's what you're left with. A little logo. It's raised on one side, raised on the side. So embossed or debossed. If you want it embossed, it would be pressed in. If you want it debossed, it's pressed out. This one, if it's embossed, it's backwards. So this one's a debossed logo, and that's what we wanted here. So we wanted a texture, so that's pretty cool. So you'll see that on some things in the future.
And all black, of course, medium, triple XL, good to go.